Update to my husband's female colleague. Original post. I do not know your Reddit name, but you finally gave me a reason to use this throwaway. I know you looked through the sub after you got advice here telling you to come clean to me about your affair with my husband. I personally couldn't find a thread that fit the description, but could be the wrong sub or you deleted it. So if you read this and it sounds familiar, then yes, it's about you. I have no plans of speaking to you in the future, but I want to make a few things clear. Yes, I do remember when we first met at a Christmas party and you kept trying to get my husband alone to talk. You pouted so much when he refused. I thought you would quack. Do you remember how all of his colleagues were friendly with me? I remember when you approached my husband and I walking home from my birthday dinner. I'm pretty sure this was a coincidence, but seeing my husband practically jump away from you trying to hug him was the highlight of my night. I know my husband is sexy. Of course I know. I married him and had kids with him. But I bet you didn't know because you have only been at the company for a few months that your coworkers used to be my coworkers. I know all about you trying to get him alone after meetings. Not only straight from my husband because you make him feel uncomfortable, but also from them. Did you think he wouldn't talk to me after you accidentally sent him 2 provocative photos on 2 separate occasions? Did you think you could really get him? Did you look at his Instagram and think, wow, I want that life. I just need to lie to his wife and it's all mine? Do you think knocking on my door when I'm hosting a dinner party to hand me printouts of your conversations with him that I would go off at the deep end to divorce him? I'm pretty sure HR have spoken to you already about your inappropriate behavior and misuse of his personal file. I'm sure you were shocked. Maybe you didn't think my husband would report it. I don't know what repercussions you will get, and I don't care. But if you come near me, my husband, our kids, or our nice home again, police will be called. A word of advice. If you're going to fabricate messages, you might want to get rid of the wrong number or at least replace it with a name. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I desperately need to find this woman's post because I am so invested in the drama. I'm sorry you and your family are going through this, OP, but it's like a car crash. I can't look away. It's absolutely fine. I would be in the same in your shoes. I honestly don't know if it's revenge for him not having an affair with her or if she really believes it. Honestly, it could go either way. She could be mentally ill and genuinely believe the scenario she's created in her head, or she could just be taking revenge on your husband and your family because he refused an affair like you said. Regardless, she sounds dangerous. Please stay safe. Oh man, I hope some handy Redditor finds the mentioned post. I could swear I did read pretty much this exact story from this other woman this week, except she truly didn't seem to understand how ridiculously inappropriate she was being to the married guy. She's totally schoolgirl crushing on the guy, trying to flirt at work and inappropriately cornering the guy and trying to get him alone. All he's got a wife, but it's just too hot to stop myself. Until Reddit ripped her a few new ones. I remember a post like that a few days ago, but I think it was a neighbor she was crushing on and not a coworker. She was fully convinced he was also in love with her, even though nothing indicated that was the case. Honestly, I tried looking for it when she handed me the printout. She had an entire monologue memorized with apologies. It mentioned Reddit a few times, but I couldn't find anything when I looked that night. It could have been a different sub or she deleted it. I had a coworker who did something similar about 20 years ago. She was obsessed with a married coworker who was nice and had trained her. His wife worked in the same place but a different department. This woman would openly talk about wanting to sleep with him and not caring about his marriage. She stalked and harassed his wife and confronted her at a group event. She attacked his wife, who promptly kicked her butt and had her arrested. People are nuts. Wow, they really are out there. Mini update. She has been fired with immediate effect. I will update when we know our next steps. Thank you for the support so far. Now for the full update. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported my husband and I in the first post. This might go on for a little bit, so I'm sorry in advance. I probably won't be as articulate as I was in my first post. I never found her post, by the way. If all you want is the update, skip to the bottom line. But a few people implied that there was no smoke without fire. Usually I would agree. I'd have been on the other side making these comments myself on my actual account, but my husband is also on Reddit and saw the comments and he wanted me to add some prior events. My husband is high up within the company marketing department that works closely with the event team in their field. When they work together on a project, big or small, they have to have meetings. The bigger the project, the more meetings needed. My husband worked very closely with a colleague that went on maternity leave. The woman was highly recommended by a senior employee in the events team. So after she had trainings on the systems and brought up to speed by her department head and my husband for a big project, he was friendly towards her. He remained professional at all times, and the meetings they had were also never alone. The project was a success, and then another big project landed in their laps. It was at this time the woman started acting strange just before the Christmas period, asking for clarification after meetings when the points had been discussed thoroughly. When my husband rebuffed this and directed her to her own manager, it escalated to offering to discuss work matters over coffee/lunch/dinner countless times a week, telling him that he looked good that day, and this was done using her work email. She met me at a Christmas party and sulked when she couldn't get him alone, and a few days later sent my husband a first picture via social media. He didn't actually see the first picture until after she apologized in person. He accepted her apology before checking his messages when he was back at home with me. She had put an "oops, sorry, wrong person" message straight after it, so when he clicked that message, the first picture was there, which she could have deleted before he actually saw the message. A week later, a similar thing happens with a second picture on a different social media platform. He saw who the message was from and asked me to open it. It was a little more provocative than before, but when she apologized, she asks him if he told me about the pictures, as she didn't want me to get the wrong idea, as they were both previously a drunken mistake. She was not a friend on any of his social media, so I don't know how she thought that was an excuse. My birthday comes along, and when she went to hug my husband, he jumped away as her actions were getting him worried. But after that, her actions calmed down a little bit. She sort of stopped asking him out to discuss work so much. But then last Monday happened. As for the update, she was fired for inappropriate actions and gross misconduct, and this has led to someone else being suspended pending investigation. As my husband and I were both working from home due to the events that happened last week, I was unaware at the time of my post that she had been suspended pretty much straight after my husband reported this to HR on Wednesday. He handed over the text exchange, the messages on his social media, with proof he never responded, and he printed out the work emails he had received also. The reason for the rapid response was due to the nature of the allegations, but I can confirm she was fired yesterday. I have not been told what she said, but she did not try to raise any allegation against my husband. In my comments, I explained a little about the HR department's system. The company uses an electronic personal database, which only HR employees can log into. No other employees should have access to this system, yet an employee in the IT department gave the woman unauthorized access to the HR system. A report was run and she had been in my husband's file 34 times. I don't know what she actually did in there, but apparently there was so many amendments that they had to restore his file from a recent backup. So, the IT employee has been suspended pending an investigation, but I don't know much else about that, as it's not my job to know. I'm only recounting what I have been told by my husband and former colleagues. The past 48 hours has been crazy, but I'm glad that this post reached other platforms, as a relative of hers found a post and reached out to us to apologize for the woman's actions. After a few messages were exchanged, we had a very long telephone conversation. I will not go into specifics due to their privacy, however, I can say the following things with permission. The woman has been fixated on other men before, resulting in her having an order of protection against her and her needing treatment. The family believes this is due to a traumatic event she witnessed when she was a child. She is normally very stable when she has medication. The only problem with that is when she is stable, she believes she's completely healthy and stops taking the medication, causing a relapse. The person that she had a text exchange with was her teenage niece who was not aware of her aunt's condition. The niece was under the impression it was a joke, then became scared when we called Wednesday morning, so she hung up. She reported this to her family and they found out later that day that the woman had been suspended. The family found a post and my comment referencing the text exchange and got my husband's name from the woman after confirming the post was her. The woman is currently staying with other relatives about 4 hours away from where we are. We will be contacted if she goes missing from their care, especially while the medication is working its way back into her system. We will not be pressing charges at present, but we have logged this with the police, especially after talking about it with our friend and her family are aware of this. Our security is being updated within the next 2 weeks. The school and daycare are also aware of the people who can and can't drop off/pick up my kids with photos of them. They have also been provided a photo of her, and to contact my husband and or I if they see her near the schools or attempts to pick my children up. Hopefully, I won't need to provide a further update to this. And I'm going to have a bottle of wine and hopefully my husband and I will have a very good night's sleep. Edit. Denise found a post and recognized that some of the text exchange I referenced in my comments, possibly the part about kicking me out of my house with my kids, as that was the only part I was not too vague about. But I don't actually know what else has gone on in their family behind the scenes, as I didn't speak directly to her. Yikes, what a saga. Glad the situation has been figured out and dealt with, so you can begin to exhale. Let's all hope the former colleague continues to get the help she desperately needs. Hard to imagine how traumatized her brain must be. Yeah, I feel a little guilty for posting now, but it ultimately did get her the help and support she needs. You shouldn't feel guilty. Look at all the good that has come from the post. Her family's aware and hopefully she can get some help. She is with her support system. That is the best case outcome. And you and your husband know you are safe for now, so you can relax and heal a bit. You did well. This is so scary. Glad she was fired. What do you mean by amendments? I'm assuming she was editing stuff on your husband's file? She had changed a lot of information on his file. I'm not allowed to know the exact extent, but she had access to everything HR would. They managed to confirm that she didn't access anyone else's file also, and the amendments were reverted back when the backup was restored. My guess is she changed herself to the emergency contact. Glad she didn't access anyone else's file at least. Did you ever find her old post? Was that just a lie? Was she feeding her husband baked good? I got so many questions and none are answered. I never found a post, but with people making so many suggestions, I admit I was overwhelmed with crazy posts. I looked through them and none of them matched. But I honestly don't know what I'm looking for, because she either fully believed she was having an affair with my husband and posted about that, or she admitted she lied to get me out the way. I also think it's a possibility she has posted, but changed too many details to remain anonymous so I couldn't recognize it. I didn't ask her family for her post history when we spoke. She never baked anything for my husband. She wasn't in a relationship either. Little annoyed with commenters in the OG post saying, well, where there's smoke. Like, yeah, the fire was OP's husband being harassed. My first thought based on OP's description was that she was stalking him. The further it went on, the more I assumed she had done this before. There was just too much going on that pointed towards him being honest, especially since OP was still in contact with coworkers who corroborated everything. Last story. A guy at work is giving me silent treatment because I didn't accept sweets he bought me. This guy at work in his late 30s/early 40s asked me a 29 female out a couple of times and I have said no every time. He has even asked me why I've said no. He does, however, leave chocolates and other sweets on my desk. I explained to him I don't eat the volume of food he's leaving me, so to please stop. I also explained I want to be healthier. I also don't want to accept because I feel he's doing it to pick up, and I don't want to give the wrong idea. Last week I returned from lunch, and he had a tray of sweets for me that he had purchased while on his lunch. I was so full for my lunch that I'm really trying with my diet and gym. So I said, no thanks, give them to someone else in the office perhaps. He got very annoyed, and now has given me the salad treatment since. This includes saying hi and bye to everyone but me daily. I find it kind of funny, to be honest. I felt bad at first for rejecting a nice gesture, but now I just feel he's overreacting. Adding on, yes, it's good he's leaving me alone, but the absolute salad treatment does make it awkward, because I do have to work with this person. Edit. Right now, I am not going to report him to HR or kick up a fuss. I merely made this post to get it off my chest. I am also not worried I no longer get attention from him as it was unwanted. I'm just feeling awkward about the situation. Thanks all. Now for the advice. Please report this to someone. Leave a paper trail in case the situation escalates. He clearly doesn't respect your boundaries. I have a coworker who was ignoring me without saying why. It was at least partially my fault. Turns out my stupid sense of humor is not appreciated by everyone, and it was really getting in the way of work. I've recently moved teams, so I don't see him much anymore, but I've found out that he has been doing the same thing to much more senior people, and they're not happy about it. I was actually relieved to hear that it wasn't just me. OP, mention all of this to HR or a supervisor if you have one you trust. Coworkers who cannot and will not communicate will always negatively affect the workplace. Haha, good. Now you can ignore him in peace. Tell HR though if he gets snarky. No, tell HR now. And tell more if he continues. This is best. You want to be ahead of the problem with HR so they can take immediate action if he does it again. Otherwise, they might say, this is the first time we are hearing of this, so we've noted it for now, instead of actually helping you. This reminds me of something that happened to me when I was working at a little cafe in Hawaii. I was going through a really hard breakup, just trying to save money and get back on my feet. I met a guy who worked there too, who was also from the same area I was from, East Coast, US. We bonded a bit, and he was funny, and we formed a platonic friendship. One day, we grabbed lunch together and we each paid for our own food. Then he sold me a little weed. It was clearly not a date. When we were about to part ways, he leaned in and attempted to kiss me on the lips. I backed away and said, "Whoa, were you just about to kiss me?" And he says, "What can I say? I'm bold." I let him know I wasn't looking for anything romantic. I'd ask if we were cool, and he says yes. From that point forward, he proceeded to give me the silent treatment at work. And when I confronted him to ask what was up, he just pretended like everything was fine, and then continued to ignore me. And this kind of thing has happened to me multiple times over the years. It's definitely a thing. Guys getting butt hurt upon rejection.